Molly May, will you come out to play? Your smile takes the edge off of the day, and you're a light that brightens.
This is Molly May, a Bod Pause Pod and other nice stuff with me, Molly May.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, today is awesome. Today is so fucking cool. This is going to be good. Today, I am joined by a woman you've heard me scream joys about in many episodes. A woman who I respect greatly. A woman with vision and talent that is inspired and unrivaled, with a tenacity that is just as fortified. Today we have jumpsuit queen, designer to the stars, Ripley Rader. You know Ripley from me being so fucking pumped about a designer making clothes that honor my body. Her styles are iconic and favorited by Kate Upton, Amy Schumer, Gigi Hadid, Forbes, Vogue, InStyle, me. How lucky are we? Ripley, hi.
Hi, you were just enough just to have you love my stuff is more than enough. I don't need any of those other things or people.
Oh, shit. Wow. You are a vision. Thank you for naming me from your closet in LA. This is the new.
It's the only place that I don't hear sirens and helicopters in Hollywood. So this is like and I really like it in here. I'm not in here a lot.
You look cozy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's nice.
I'm so excited for today. We're going to talk about the Ripley brand and shifting from making jumpsuits and dope ass silhouettes to masks, and then our recent collaboration, which pinch me. But first, I like to start the pod off with a little corner of joy, just kind of centering around gratitude and light and love. And I want to start this week with what I can't take off, which is, a celebration of my wardrobe. And I'm pretty sure that this has been my what I can't take off in prior episodes. But I quite literally can't take it off. And it's only fitting that you're here because it is my rose gold sequins Ripley Rader mask.
It's good. It's a good mask.
It's a good mask. Mm-hmm. And it's the first mask that I bought that wasn't just, like a paper mask. So it was my first fancy real time. We're fucking doing the pandemic, and we're
and you helped out people because for every sequin mask that was purchased, 2 were donated. Not sequin,
amazing.
Active masks for hospitals, but yes.
Oh, it's a bummer that I didn't get sequins ones.
There were some doctors who wrote us and said, we work in peds and we think the kids would love it. So we'll throw in a couple for every, we're donating thousands. So we'll throw in a few to every different hospital because it makes people happy.
It does. It's so good. And what I love about it so much, I have more questions about this, but what I love so much about it is it's not just like a mask. It's very clearly a Ripley Rader mask. It has the joie de vivre is the word that keeps coming into my head. It's like quintessential Ripley Rader. When I think of your jumpsuits, it's that wide leg sequins sparkle, and now I get it on my face. It's so fucking awesome.
Well, it's the concept of a twofold: taking up space, which I want us as women to start really stepping into taking up space and unapologetically, boldly, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mask being a sequin one was both that, and also I really thought about if we have to, rather than it feeling like a a bummer that we have to wear these masks. Why not create something that could bring joy to people when they put it on, even if it's a chuckle, even if it's like, I can't believe I'm wearing rose sequins to do an errand at 8 a.m. But here we are. So that's sort of, it's true. It's twofold. Yeah. And I never wanted to feel, I think it was very important to me, and it's why it was connected to service, but I never wanted to feel flippant about what was happening, because we were on the front end of making masks. People were not used to it when we first launched them. But I was very clear in that I recognized, because I was talking with doctors and nurses every day, I recognized the severity of things. However, I thought, and in the same breath, I thought we could bring joy to people in this moment. So that's how they were created. They were created over a glass of wine at like midnight.
Fucking amazing. So you made the rose gold sequins and chambray.
Yes.
And is there a black sequins too?
There's a black sequin too, yeah.
Wow.
So we have, those were the first three that we launched.
Gotta get them all. Collect them. Collector's item.
Different days. Sometimes you wear denim, sometimes you wear prom dress. Like, you just don't know.
How about you? What you can't take off this week?
Here we are in COVID time. I mean, the thing that immediately came to mind was your mask that you designed for our company, the Vote Black. I've been wearing the black. I've been wearing black just as a uniform recently. And I have worn that Vote mask because what it feels to me, and the reason I can't take it off, is because it feels like my little protest. It feels like I don't have to be loud. I just walk into the grocery store, and the guy who's working behind the counter, like this morning when I was picking up croissants at 6:30 a.m. goes, I really hope people do vote.
Yes.
And there is an inspirational element to it, a protest element to it. And I wear it to run, but, we all are just not taking them off. So also, they're very cool, thanks to you. I mean, they're so cool. They're so cool looking. And I feel cool in them. And so that is the piece I have not taken off really this week. Been wearing.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to unpack that with you.
So
speaking
good.
of protest, my song of the week is the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, March. I just got chills. Have you heard?
No.
Oh my God.
I haven't heard it yet.
It's so fucking profound and powerful, and the lyrics are just like, march, march to my own drum. I'm an army of one. And it's just like, I mean, I have chills, like my tits are hard. I have chills. It's been on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. And I'm so obsessed with the name change.
I am too. I love them. When I watch Shut Up and Sing, I followed Dixie Chicks around for a summer or two when I was in high school, I guess it was. And then when I watched Shut Up and Sing, their documentary, I was so impressed with them. They've always been such a huge influence on me, their songwriting, and I haven't listened to. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so good.
Is it a new album? Is it a full new album?
They are releasing a few singles first. Okay, cool. I think.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. What's your song?
That's the randomest song, but so this week I've had to be courageous in ways that I haven't, not courageous, but since the pandemic, I've had to take on roles that I've never taken on before, like being the photographer for my own fashion shoot.
Hell yeah. Holy shit.
I know. It's like learning how to tether a computer to my camera, and then like learning how to use a camera and then strobe lights. It's like fun. I mean, I love it.
Oh my God. That's like beyond real time. Yeah.
I know. I love it. And I've always loved shooting, so I'm really excited about it. But the song I've been listening to over and over is My Sharona from the 70s. But it makes me, because I love Reality Bites, and like I just see these women, like every time I listen to it, I just want to dance with wild abandon. And so it gives me like confidence, like, look, I can do it. So I've been
I love it.
I've been listening to that song quite a bit.
It's such a great shoot song because
So good.
it has like a good timbre where like if you're modeling you can like still dance to it, like there's a slow beat in there.
Yeah, it's got.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And also like the hype of that guttural scream that you just gave me is I would do anything for that. Do it again. What do you want me to do? I'll do it. So good.
There's more where that came from.
Yes. I also like to talk about what brought me joy this week. And this is all just like wrapping itself into a nice little bow. So this shirt that I'm wearing a t-shirt that I made. So I'm from a super small, amazing farming community in Iowa, Statesville, Iowa. And because of COVID, we had to cancel our town fundraiser. So my sister and I were like, okay, well, what can we do, to raise funds online? So we found this third-party site where people can order t-shirts. So I've been designing t-shirts, and all of the proceeds go back to, organizations within our small hometown that lost fundraising opportunities because our town celebration was canceled. And population 469 is Statesville, Iowa. And we are home to Julia Addington, who is the first woman elected to public office in the United States. In 1869, she was elected superintendent of Mitchell County Schools. She's buried a mile from my parents' farm, just like in a country cemetery. Her t-shirt came in the mail today, and it was just this one, and it was just like such a lovely fuck yeah moment. I was like, I'm going to interview this fucking badass Ripley Rader in my Julia Addington shirt. Like I need the world to know about Julia Addington. She's so fucking badass. That's my joy.
I love it. It makes me happy on a lot of levels, but I think watching someone that is so talented and see their work and be proud of it as someone who is a fan of yours and who loves you is extraordinary. Also, she's a badass and we want to celebrate her, but to celebrate you is pretty epic.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Ripley. What's your joy this week?
I've had a lot of joys this week. I think my photo shoot yesterday was my joyous moment, culmination of moments, because it was the first time I saw my new collection on a body in a collection rather than just random pieces.
Yeah.
I didn't have any, what is it? You throw out the babies with the bathwater? That's not right. It's something like where I cut the collection down from 70 styles to 15, and it's just
holy shit.
Yeah, I know. It's only Shiros. That's what I keep saying. It's only Shiros. It's only Shiros. We're only doing the pieces that we know are incredible. And so it's pretty much an essentials collection, which allows us to be able to produce it, of course, inclusively with all different sizing, which I've not been able to do with the larger collections because I'm a small business and it just increased. So we do made to order, of course. Yeah. But so there's a lot of things at play, and I felt just simply joyful as I watched, these women who were like on board with me, and we were all just doing things like we're just like a ragtag group at this point because it's like my stylish friend. I just asked her to style it. Like, she's not a stylist. She just is she's like a stylish person, one of the most. And I thought, here we are just doing it joyfully. And so that's my joy.
Oh my God. And in Pandyland, well done. I can't wait to see.
It's great.
I can't wait to see. I feel like I've seen snippets of Color Story in your Instagram, like your storyboards I just like, Blah.
Good. It's good.
I was drooling just then.
We did. Oh, that makes me happy. I was like, oh, did you hate it? No.
No, it's so fucking juicy. Your color story is simply the best.
It's like, I think having limitations is really important as a creative. And I think like my color stories or my styles or things like that, when you can make anything and you have unlimited budgets and whatever, the vision gets muddled. It gets too diluted. And so, with this, I really dove into the concept of monochromatic looks, even if it's different shades of the same color. And I found it to be, in many ways, one of the most interesting choices I've ever made, because it really, there is something unbelievably complex about a head to toe look that's different shades of rose, And so that's where we were. And it seems so stupid, like, to talk about fashion, but clothing is armor. And we can live at the surface in the fashion world, or we can go deep. And I refuse to live at the surface, because when you deal with fashion, you deal with women. When you deal with women, you deal with confidence. So you cannot be in fashion without addressing the crisis of confidence in women, right? And so that's, sometimes you start from the outside in, and it's armor. And so, it might just be the shade of rose, but it's how you feel when you rock the head to toe look and you're like, I own this company. What? Like, hand me your resume. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
But for me, it's all of that.
Oh, I fucking love it. I love the idea of it being armor. Because it is. And I've said it so many times, it's when I get dressed, it absolutely affects my mood. Whether I'm, wearing a structured Ripley Rader crop top or a Julia Addington t-shirt, it's like what it means. How do I say this? It's my insides being projected out, but and being such a visual person, it's like, it's armor.
And sometimes you have to start on the outside to just sort of wake up the essence of who you are on the inside. And so it's not just a shirt. It's not about the clothes. It's about how you feel when you wear the clothes, because all of us have clothes, but then all of us have that one pair of jeans or something that you've had forever that you feel powerful in, or whatever it is that you're going for. For me, it's always, I want to feel powerful and strong. And so that has always been a driving force for me in clothing. But I believe we have options. I believe that men can be fashion designers too, I guess. But I also realize like, if they want to create art, I'm all for it. Like Jacquemus or whatever his name is from Paris, like he creates these incredible artistic pieces. That is not my goal. My goal is to outfit women at important moments of their lives when they need that extra lift to ask for the raise, to go out on the date, to, pitch a meeting, whatever it is. And to be a part of women in those intimate moments of their lives there is no greater joy. There's no greater joy.
It's so obvious to me too, when I put on your work, that your intention is coming through in that. It's like, it would be different if it was just like, yeah, you're saying these things, but it's like almost a witchy thing. Like I put it on and I feel exactly what you're saying.
Good. That's the point. That's like, it's like good cooks. You know when someone loves to cook. When you're eating love, you can taste it. The food tastes different. And that is me with clothes. Like, I didn't go to fashion school. I just made clothes that made me feel like a badass. And then that just now I don't sew much at all anymore. But when I do, I recently, for this photo shoot, we were short a sample pair of metallic high waist pant that you're going to dye over. And I realized we didn't have it. So I just sat down at a sewing machine and made them.
God.
And I thought, wow, I haven't done this in a minute, and it felt really good. It felt like therapy almost to get in front of the sewing machine.
Remind me, you learned how to sew from your grandma, right?
Yes, from my grandmother. So I come from a long line of very creative women. My mom is an artist and an interior designer, and my grandmother was just like, she worked, always worked, but her home life was just impeccable. Everything was done beautifully. She cooked
Mm.
beautifully. Everything was impeccably sewn when she was sewing. And so she taught me and my sister and my mother. We all learned to sew from her. And I I just loved it. And my sister also sews. So does my mom. Not as much as me probably, but my sister will sew very beautiful things, like small, like when her children were babies, she would do smocked onesies. Like I would never do that. Like the little tiny, she's very detail oriented, much like my grandmother. And I couldn't, I think the thing that drew me to it was oh, I can have that and all I have to do is make it. I'm from a small town and I didn't
Wow.
come from a ton of money. And so I wasn't going to like New York City on shopping sprees. So when I
Mm.
saw an outfit, I would say, and my grandmother started getting me In Style magazine when I was 11.
Ah,
And
what a cool
I
grandma.
know, until she passed away, she made other people my mom actually secretly took over getting me the subscription until she passed away, and she was 94, and it was just 2 years ago. And my mom said to me quietly one day, "Do you want me to keep it going?" I said, "Oh, we can let it
Oh,
lie with her." But I would look at
wow.
this magazine and go, well, what what is keeping me from this? Like I'm capable. I'm a capable person. And so it was very easy. And so I just decided that I could make what I saw. And
Holy
it was
shit.
wonderful because it's like you develop a wonderful relationship with perfection, because if you've made something, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're wearing it and there's a level of confidence that you get from anything that you make. Think about your t-shirt. Like you're going to get a higher level of like buzz from it
Yeah.
than if somebody else made it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just,
Yeah.
and so I started just looking at magazines and then making patterns with my grandmother on the ground. And it'd be like a dress with zero back, and like my prom dress was raw silk that my mom and I found in North Carolina somewhere. And then it was just a chain around the neck and a chain around the back, and it just like cow neck draped. Really, it was
Yes.
sort of, and
Yes.
my grandmother was like, "There's no back. Okay, do you want to borrow my necklace from the 30s that your grandfather gave me?" And it connects, you know.
What?
It's like stories like that. You don't have that if you just go to like, Maurice's for your prom dress or whatever it is,
Right.
maybe for your prom dress. And
Oh my
so,
God.
yeah, it was always about the process. And so that's why I feel now I don't feel connected so much to the end result, but I am connected to the feeling I get when other people wear the clothes and when I wear the clothes.
Yeah. I completely understand the the process of it. And even like, okay, so the example of this Julia Addington shirt, my sister Tina had brought up this factoid that Julia Addington is the first, woman elected to the public office in the United States maybe 2 years ago. And it has kind of secretly been our obsession. And we've talked so many times like, hey, how can we just like fucking blow this up, right? Like people need to know. And in creating this store for the Brat Trot, and specifically the Julia Addington apparel, I got to dig into her a little bit, and like not only think about her, but also the people in Stacyville that will wear it, and like trying to make that connection. Like they are of the same land. Like we all exist in the same space. That's the process to me where I get to go really deep with it. Whereas like someone, looking at this t-shirt or a jumpsuit are seeing the end result and going, oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But then, when you get that backstory, like when you know the designer, like Ripley Rader, and that, small business, female owned, fucking sustainable, ethical fashion, you're even more like, gimme, 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 gimme. So I completely relate and understand the love of the process of creating.
It's the drug of creatives. It's the drug of creatives. We try,
Yeah.
you know, I think that it is and having to simplify things when our company with the pandemic and everything. I think saying goodbye to some of that process, which becomes part of the experience, was as hard as probably harder than actually the result of it. Because, you know, but it is interesting. I think that that is it's the drug. We just keep coming back to
Right.
it, you know? Yeah.
I have another process question for you, and that's, we talked a little bit about color, but I want to know how texture and fabric affects your designs. So like, do you design first and then choose fabric that suits the design? Or are you like, holy shit, I have to have this textured rose and then make a garment that best suits the fabric? Is it
It,
chicken or the egg?
no, it's absolutely fabric first. So
Wow.
I don't sketch. If you look at my sketches, it looks like I am a child. Like I'm on a panel next week with like Christian Siriano. You know, he's like such a huge sketcher. And I'm like, God, I hope they don't ask me about like putting my sketches up beside his. Mine are like literally stick people with triangle shirts and because that just was never, in my mind, I see it. So I never
Yeah.
I never needed to draw. In the same way that I never used to do a mood board until I brought in like a style, I do a style council, or I used to every season. And I would bring in style makers and taste makers and have them look at the collection and give me like, one time, one of this incredible buyer of mine looked at me and she goes, "You're better than that print, Ripley. You're better than that print." It's
Wow.
wonderful because you have people who will be honest with you. But because I see it in my head, for me, it's all the fabric. I go downtown and I go to places that are not pretty. Like it's not glamorous at all, really. And I still source all of my fabrics. So I don't know how other designers have their assistants go downtown to bring them fabric. For me, I will always have to be feeling the fabric, the hand, the feel. I want to know what it's going to feel like on my body. I can tell how it's going to drape on a dress or a pair of pants. Also, because I didn't go to fashion school, I don't have a preconceived notion that clothing has to be, certain fabrics have to be worn a certain way. Like my Ponte pants were never intended to be made in the way that I made them. And now I'm doing like oversized blazers with them and oversized blazers and smoking jackets and all these things.
Fuck yeah.
That it's fucking brilliant. But I think like because I don't have when I feel the fabric, I think, oh my gosh, this metallic foil needs to 100% be a caftan, whatever it is. So for me, it's 100% fabric. Absolutely.
I love knowing that. Also, thank you so much for saying Ponte out loud, because I've always wondered how you say it, and in my head, I'm always like, Pont.
Pont. It's Pont. It's like a French. No, it's Ponte. Ponte. But well, sometimes they spell it with an I. Ponte de Roma. There's another word for it, but yes, Ponte. Like it's like a beautiful heavyweight knit. It's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, it's structural flow.
Yeah, and it looks like wool, but it feels like yoga pants. So you're
That's
welcome,
good.
America.
So your clothes, I said structural flow, and it's like, it's always what I've used to describe your stuff. They have straight lines while also moving freely with the body. And I think that the Ripley Rader silhouette is one of the strongest visual aspects of the brand. And since laying eyes on your work, I wanted that silhouette on my body. And this was before Ripley Rader Plus was launched. So I'm wondering how your creative process shifted in going from straight sizes to plus while maintaining that vision, while maintaining that same silhouette, because I'm able, as a size 20 woman, I have exactly the same silhouette as your size 0 in your Ponte.
Or
And
hotter.
that's, wow. And it's like, it's not just like a simple drag and drop to expand. You know, like I'm not wearing like a slouchy, ill-fitting plus size version of the brand. So how did that shift your creative process
Well,
and in ensuring that, you know, the line is the line?
Well, first, let's say the reason I didn't do the plus line earlier was not for lack of desire. It was lack of money. Because I think oftentimes when you become a brand, you become a business, you're seen as a business and you're often just by the masses seen as Amazon. You're suddenly Amazon, you know.
Right.
And Ben and my husband and I run the company together, a family business. No, I didn't have any funding to start the company. And we haven't taken outside investors because I like being the boss. And
Yeah.
so, and I like the idea of having a no debt company. You know, it makes me sleep easier at night. And meaning that there's not millions of dollars put into a company in hopes that you'll maybe make pennies on the dollar back. Fashion brands very often get bought for with huge debt associated with them, and that was never our business model. So the plus line came out of a, a deep desire from the beginning of the company to have all sizes, without a doubt. It was pissed me off that I couldn't, but we didn't have the money to double the SKUs. So that what we did is we found out what the best pieces were in the collection, which were our essentials, which is about 10 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And once we had the 10 pieces, we knew they would sell. We knew that we were making a little bit of money. And it was from the beginning always the next step with Ripley Rader, because like I said before, my obsession with confidence is more than my obsession with clothing. And so I wanted to make sure that all women could wear my clothes. And so we developed the line. And it was not an easy thing to develop, because oftentimes brands, mostly contemporary brands, because very few brands at my scale, which are small, high-end boutique brands, do inclusive sizing, which blows my mind. And when they do lower quality fabrics. They don't use the same proportions.
Yeah,
And
why?
so because it's expensive to develop an entire new line. So it was as if I launched my company again. So I took the silhouettes, but to just make them, if I just kept growing the sizes, my pants would be 6 feet long. So
Right.
you can't do it that way. So you have to go back really to the drawing board and say, okay, the average 14, 16 are these measurements. So, and they're about 5, you know, like you have to think about height. And so we couldn't just keep going up in height. So our like 1+ appeals to a woman between the height level of 5'6" and 5'8", but is a 14, 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then our plus size, our like sample size, the 2, goes up to about a 16, I would say. So it walks that line, but it's a little taller. So someone could be, if like somebody's very tall, they could be a 3+ in my world, and also a 4. So skip the 1+ and the 2+. But for me, I wanted it to feel like a full collection that was not an afterthought of Ripley Rader. And so I appealed to my pattern maker, and I just said, okay, so if we're going to do this, we can't keep going up in height. So how do we make it? And then we just fit test the shit out of it. Because my whole argument is, if the clothing doesn't look the same on a size 16, and I say this all the time, it's not a script, but if it doesn't look the same on a size 16 and a size 6, the designer is the problem, not the body.
Wow.
And I think so often women will say, oh, my body doesn't look good in this or whatever. I can't wear this. I can't wear this. And I'm like, I hate it. And we actually had a trunk show here recently, and there was a woman talking such shit about her body. And I just quietly said, if you're going to speak that way, you're going to have to leave. And everyone got very quiet. It made everyone rather uncomfortable in that moment. But I said, I don't mean to be difficult, but I don't let that talk happen in this very sacred space. Like, it is radical self-acceptance around here. And if you're not willing to be courageous enough to be that, then go somewhere else, because that's just not my closer. My clothes embrace curves. My clothes embrace body. We're not going to have this conversation about my body is the problem. So for me, when I did the jumpsuits, I remember actually the first time we cast a model for our campaign, our Plus campaign, and it was Chelsea Miller, who's so beautiful and has a beautiful social media presence. And she's just so hot. But she walks out in the jumpsuit, and I look over at Ben, and he is a level-headed, he's an engineer. He runs the business side, but he does castings with us. And he was, just blushing, red from his neck up. I was so embarrassed. And I said, Ben! And he goes, oh my gosh, she looks so good. And I was like, she does. Because as she should. Like,
she is fucking hot.
She is so hot, and she's good as gold. The woman is good as gold. I adore her. But she, it's this idea that because you're a larger size, you have to settle for something that isn't as fabulous. That's complete bullshit. I can't, my grandmother was 4'11". Am I not supposed to have as good a clothing simply because I'm in the social, I'm in the construct, because I'm a size 6'8", that I am of the same equal value to her as a size 0, but someone who's 18 or 20 isn't of the same value of feeling sexy, of feeling powerful. I will not subscribe to that. I will not do it.
I am verklempt. Thank you for saying that and sharing the story of kind of shutting down that negative self-talk, because that takes courage. And especially, us as women, the first thing that we'll do is put the blame on ourselves and apologize for how we are showing up, even apologizing for shit that doesn't happen. And so I think that by you creating that boundary and that, this is my space, and that's that energy, it infiltrates, and it's lecherous, and I think that's fucking awesome, and I'm gonna do more of that. That was a very inspiring story. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. But I think we have to just I think we just have to start not being afraid to say and to think we're awesome. I say that with my girls. I have a girls camp, and start them young. But I think there's this idea of, people would always say to me growing up, you think your shit don't stink, because I'm delusionally self-confident. Like I from everything from watching the Victoria's Secret runway show to Too Hot to Handle. I watched that show and I immediately ordered an underboob bikini top. I was like, of course I've got to have this because I'm going to look just like them. Or running a company or blah, blah. But people would say, you act like your shit don't stink. And it was less that. And it was more like, I just believe that I'm capable of a lot of things. And I think, I have a lot of privilege, so I feel like it's very important to acknowledge that. But I grew up in this tiny little town, but my family was just all on board with me, whatever it was that we wanted to do. And I'm very grateful for that. But I think that if more and more women at a younger age were told to and encouraged to step into their confidence, and you can be humble and you can also be really confident. They're not mutually exclusive. I think that it's often, I think specifically with men just believe that they belong in the room, and women need to be taught that we belong in the room. And it comes with clothes too. Like we immediately say, oh, my hips are too big for that. It's like, just get a bigger size.
Right. Oh, fuck.
What the hell? That's why I did sizing 1, 2, 3, 4. Cause one time I paid $250 for a pair of chip and pepper jeans cause they were 25s. I've never been a 25 my whole life in jeans. And I thought, I'm never going to do that to another woman. So
Yeah.
I put sizes 1, 2, 3, 4. It's because I want people to slide through. Like wear a 4 in one thing. Wear like, like you could wear one of our caftans that's a sample size, but it would be like
Yeah.
a more like slick thing rather
Yeah.
than. But it's all how you want it to fit. I have actresses who are like wisps of humans. We're like size 3 or 4 in my world because they want it to drape like very Halston-y, very 70s. It's all about fit. It's how you
Yeah.
want to fit, how you want to feel in it.
Yeah. I'm just like so fucking inspired and even more grateful that, if from the beginning that you saw my body and bodies like mine as equals, as bodies that you wanted to dress, and that you're not skipping corners. Because when I put on Ripley Rader, I feel like $1,000,000 and I am wearing the same fucking outfit as Gigi Hadid, and it blows my fucking mind.
And I
Why-
argue that
no one
you're a
else is
lot
doing
harder.
that.
You're a lot hotter than Gigi Hadid. I've seen you both in jumpsuits, so and I like the girl, but there's some curves that are nice to see in clothing.
Wow.
I just think it's a matter of and it's funny because I've had a lot of conversations about this because financially it's been an interesting journey on what we can make in inclusive sizing and what we can't. And so I'm excited to take the company back to a much smaller collection so we're able to do that because it is absolutely, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. I'm also not a tiny girl. Maybe if I don't know, I can't imagine thinking, in my opinion, hot is hot. I don't give a shit.
I
Like,
love that.
I don't,
Hot is hot. Hot is hot.
hot is hot. And it's like, the concept of real women have curves or real women don't have curves. It's like we have models that come in that are so, we'll have some models come in that are thinner than I would even want because I like, I often cast models who are very strong. But they're the most, they're as lovely and nerdy and love Harry Potter and Christmas. I mean, like we're all just the same woman. And I think we've been conditioned to really compete and hopefully, like I look at my interns and they don't carry that same, they're not competitive in that way with other women. And it is a joy.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about scaling back a little bit and not only scaling back your business, but changing your business in times of COVID. And very early on when we were quarantined to our homes, I witnessed you very quickly pivoting to create masks. And you created that rose gold sequins mask that was, still very true to your brand. I want to know kind of what that transitionary time was like for you. And also like, what was that driving factor where you were like, I can do this, I have to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it?
Well, for me, I don't do transitions terribly well, so I tend to just leap. And I have a phrase that says, "Here I go, boldly and terrified." I just
I love that.
Ben and I were sitting having a glass of wine, and I saw one other company who's been a lighthouse for me. She's not really in fashion, but she's a great businesswoman, and I had like watched her sort of consider doing masks but the interesting thing is that the whole thing started when my sister, who's in healthcare and a complete badass, she said, I said, "What are you doing this weekend?" She goes, "I'm making masks." And she said, "People will need them. It's going to get bad." And I said, "I'm going to make masks too, because I've always wanted to be just like her." And so I decided not just to make masks, but to make 100 masks in 2 days, and not only just make them, like I didn't want to just make them, I wanted to inspire my online community to make and inspire, because Ben said, because he's a math dude, he said in 6 steps, if we can make 100 masks and then tell 10 friends to make 100 masks, we can get to 1 million masks pretty quickly. So I decided to go for the first time in company history to go directly to the viewers on my social media platform, which I've never directly spoken with them before. I've never gone on like Insta stories and spoken.
Really?
Never. Mm-mm. This was my
Holy
first.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It took a pandemic. And so I directly talked to them and I said, I challenge you. And I tagged all these people who I knew were sewers and also different brands. I was like, this is not a me thing. This is everybody get out there and do their fucking part because everyone's gonna need it. So I'm sewing, my girlfriend's sending me food. I had a friend send me like 7 bottles of wine. I mean, I just sewed, and Ben cut all the masks, which is a huge job. And
Amazing.
I was sewing. So the two of us were working together the whole time. I remember at the end of the night, I said to Ben, the first night, do you mind pouring me half a glass of wine? And he came in and there was a pint glass and he had filled half a glass. I was like, I love you. I'm married.
We love Ben.
Ben is very, very cheesy, the wind beneath my wings on all this. But so I made these masks and before the end of day, actually probably by the middle of the day on Sunday, people had already reached out to me to say we are desperate for them. Everyone from oncology, like recently diagnosed patients who were going into chemo the next day. At this time, there weren't a lot of masks everywhere. So it was really, and the word spread. So it was viral. It just sort of went viral for me. And so once those 100 were made, I just didn't think anything of it. So that Sunday, it was like 5:00. I packaged them all up. They were gone by Monday morning by 10. And that evening we were just hanging out and I hadn't thought about doing it for the business because for me, it was all outreach. I come from a long line of service-oriented people. Mm-hmm. And so I separated myself from the business in this one process. And I realized that over a glass of wine and a backgammon game with my husband, he was like, we should do masks. Like maybe we should talk. Our factory is closed. They're working or they're at home, just hanging out. And I said, I wonder if they brought a few sewing machines home. And he said, I wonder. And I said, I think I'm gonna make a mask tonight, a few of them. And by that point, I had already called my friends and said, can I come over at 7 tomorrow morning and take pictures of you wearing them? And within 4 hours, there were 3 prototypes of masks. Actually 2, because we started with just the sequins. And Ben and I decided if we were going to do it, we had to keep the service part of the equation, big part of it. And so that's why we donate 2 for every mask we make or we sell, which is a terrible business model. If you want to make a lot of money, don't make 1 and donate 2. That's so stupid. But for me, it's not. Oh my God,
you're making 3 for everyone. I've never actually sat and thought about that. Holy shit.
So you're making 3 for everyone. 1 is much more expensive to make. The sequins are much more expensive. And of course we make in America. So, and I shake the hands of the people that are sewing them. They're, there's some really crappy factories in LA. Ours is not one of them. And so within a matter of a week, I'd never seen in fashion, you don't get that many orders. I mean, you get orders but I'm not I'm not Amazon. I don't have millions of orders. We were getting, an order a minute and orders.
Holy shit.
2 orders a minute for weeks. It was like this.
Oh my God.
It was like that commercial where it's like, oh my gosh, the printer just keeps printing. You're like, what's happening? But we were able to gift, within the first week, 2,000 masks to people that really, really needed them. And so it was really, and we kept, masks have kept us alive. And I'm deeply grateful for them. You know, I'd rather be making clothes and I'd rather be talking about confidence and girls' camps and lady parts and all those things. But I'm grateful for these masks. And then, and so it just became a thing where I was like, oh, this is a wonderful way for us to stay relevant, but also do good. And so what I realized is that here we are in this world feeling helpless. But what we can do is we can take what we have and do with it what we can. So I think all of us get stuck, or it's easy to get stuck, and you compare yourself to the Gap, or you compare it like as a brand. They're making millions of things. Or Christian Siriano, like I mentioned before, he was making, thousands and thousands. And here I was making 100 masks for the weekend. And I sat with myself and I realized, I have to do what I can with what I have. And what I have are sewers that need work. And so then, and I have the capacity to make thousands of masks. So you step into it. And so it pivoted our company totally.
It's so gorgeous. And also what I love when I wear the sequins mask, I realize that I've been talking about the sequins mask a lot.
Pretty fabulous.
And when you think about wearing sequins on your face, you guys should know that it is double lined, and it is lined with like the softest little baby rabbit cotton. It's so good. And also highly breathable.
Well, that's good. I think so too. I love that one.
Oh, so good. So thank you for that. You and I connected in early May. And this is, you had been, busting your ass putting these masks out for like a month and a half now. And
no, I'm gonna tell this story. I'm stepping in. I have been wanting to work with you for a long time, years. And I have appreciated and loved your work. I love who you are in the world. But purely creatively, I love your fucking work. And so I thought, I want to be a part. I want to work with her. Also, I work with women solely. Besides Ben, I won't hire a man because I don't believe there's a place for men in women's fashion. But that's just my point of view. Who cares what I think about that? But anyway.
Welcome to Matriarch Digital Media, Ripley. Yeah. We're very excited to have you.
Yeah, I feel very at home here. But I don't, because I'm like, why would I ever have a male gaze for women's clothing? It's crazy to me. But anyway, if they want to make art like that, that's the thing, is that there's a lot of incredible artists out there and you have to love their work. And that's undeniable. But so anyway, I've been wanting to work with you, and I realized after we had I thought we had exhausted the masks with the sequins, and I thought, I'm ready for the next step. And we were just thinking about things, going back and forth, and I realized we can make a mark with these stamps. We can make a stand in the stamps with these masks. I don't know what I'm thinking.
It does feel very stamped.
I think I was thinking of the stamp on it.
Yeah.
But so all these things and then I thought, okay, the next step is a vote mask. And that was it was early May. And I was very excited because I wanted to launch it immediately. So I called you and I asked you if you would design. It's the first time I've ever had anyone else design a piece of clothes. I've always been the sole designer. So you were my first designer collaboration ever. And I only got off with you from this point. Oh, you know what? I had a print. Let me take that back. I had a print, but this seemed like a printmaker. But this seemed like different because of the stand we were taking. It wasn't just a pattern on fabric. This was like, it felt personal in a way. And so I was just blown away. So I called you, and I couldn't believe
it happened so fast.
2 hours it was like.
Yeah.
And I said, how quickly can you do this? We want to launch yesterday.
Right.
And you go, I can do it. I can do it in no time. And then you quickly connected me through your sister with When We All Vote. And the rest is sort of history, because then the movement started.
Yeah. So when you called me, it was like an obvious duh for me, because fucking we're entering now this echo chamber of I love you, I want to work with you forever, this is fucking awesome. But also it became so clear to me how lovely we collab. So you had given me this vision, and this is the same way that I work with our mutual friend Ty. It's like we speak kind of the same visual language, and so you had come to me with, this vision, and also, what an honor to create in your brand, and something that, I have basically studied for years. And so I think I sent over like 5 different concepts, designs that we were going to screen print on these masks. And it was important to both of us that any gender would feel comfortable wearing it. And also that it didn't take necessarily an overly patriotic feel to it. We wanted it to feel like your brand. And so when I was, designing it and thinking about type and color, I wanted it to work with all Black outfits. I wanted it to work with rose gold sequins. I wanted it to work with a navy blue ponte pant. And I wanted it to work with a dude wearing a baseball cap and a chambray shirt. It happened so fast. It really did, because I've just always been so inspired by you. And quickly I sent over those mock-ups, and you were like, fuck yeah, this is the one. And I was like, cool, let's clean it up. And then you had always wanted to give the funds to an organization. And I was like, well, my sister's fucking awesome. Let me see what she says. And this is where some sort of like magical swirl happened. So you were introduced to When We All Vote. When We All Vote is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. I'm just reading verbatim now what they are so I don't fuck it up. Nonpartisan org that is on a mission to increase participation in every election and close the race and age voting gap by changing the culture around voting, harnessing grassroots energy, and through strategic partnerships to reach every American. And if that isn't like synonymous with everything that is Ripley Rader, then fuck. Also, it was started by, Michelle Obama and a bunch of
Lin-Manuel Miranda. No big deal. But I didn't know that. The funny thing is, after it wasn't a celebrity driven thing for me. It was so funny to find that out after, because I'm on the phone with them, and we were talking about some stylist, and she goes, do you know her? It's Michelle's stylist, and la la la. And we just started
Michelle
talking
Obama's stylist.
Yeah, Obama. Just, And I thought, oh my goodness, this was not where I thought this conversation was going to go. Like and so it's been a real trip. But I'm deeply honored, and we're actually writing our first check because we wanted to get, a significant amount of purchases before I send them like a $2 check every, because we are donating $2 per mask, but we're getting people, we're selling them. They're selling so well that we can't keep up. I have 100 orders waiting, for masks that I ordered 4 days ago, and we already are sold out of masks. Like I have to, so the style, it is cool, and it's because of you, and it is a stand. And I think that's a very powerful thing.
It's punchy and also highly wearable at the same time.
Yep. I love it.
And I have found that so the design, I realize that, you're listening to a podcast and you can't necessarily see what I'm saying. One of my favorite design principles is pigeon. And so we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 12 votes on the front of this mask. And each one is a different color. And it's just like, vote, 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 vote. And I don't go out much because of the pandy. But every time that I have and I'm wearing it, it has been some sort of conversation starter, especially in a time where we're like, don't fucking talk to me. I don't want your spores. what do you hope the legacy of these masks is? Because to me, it's not just like you said before, it's like it feels like a protest moment, and also it's a fundraising moment and an awareness moment. And I mean, we have people like Janelle Monáe and Faith Hill and Tim McGraw that are like, they were like, fuck yeah to this, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're on the board of When We All Vote, and I just like fucking shit myself over Tim McGraw, but
I know, me too. Yeah, they reposted a couple of our posts and I was like, this is amazing. I think we all think I'm a bit obsessed with my legacy, which is like probably egotistical. But more than that, I feel like it's my whole thing of you do what you can with what you have. And if I believe that if we all do something small, it will create great change. And maybe that's my eternal optimism. Maybe, but I don't think so because I've seen it. Like through my sewing, and we sewed as a group of my community thousands, and that was not professionally. That was not my factory. So I, with this, if someone sees a mask that says "vote, vote, vote," that looks cool, there's a response to it. There's not an immediate rejection of like, I don't get involved. There's a because it's cool looking and it's fashion, there's a sense of wanting to wear it, of wanting to talk about it, wanting to have the conversation. And I don't think I did enough in the last election. I was
Same.
passive in my very feminist West Coast bubble. And I wore my like white head to toe set when I voted. And we had cases of champagne in the back of my studio. We threw a huge party. And I realized through that I was not going to be passive. And I am, in the same breath, I wanted to make sure that I could collaborate with a nonpartisan organization. I really do believe in the power of voting. And when I was young, I don't think I knew that enough. So the fact that When We All Vote is really connected to young voters is really important to me, because I hope that's the legacy, to inspire and to do a little bit more.
yeah, fuck yeah. And I liked what you said about it being fashion, because there's something about this. I'm not wearing a fucking American flag on my face. And so I feel almost I feel included to have this conversation as someone who in the past has always been like, I'm not really the political one, or I'm not that political. That's
the luxury, right?
Oh God, that is glaring fucking privilege. And that was my laziness. And so also having this on my face, it's almost like an accountability moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited.
All colors are represented. You have everybody's color. That's why we loved your take on it, because as much as you can wear with any outfit, it really did feel like everyone's represented. And like we said, we spoke at the beginning of May, but when George Floyd was murdered, it put a pause on it for us, because we wanted to make sure that we gave enough space and energy to what was important at the moment, which was the protests and the and I do think because of that, it makes it even more important. And the fact that you're from Minneapolis and we had already spoken to you, we had already created it. It was already done. We were just waiting to launch it. We were going to launch it that week, actually. And it felt across the board, you've been part of this, not an origin story just as the designer, but as somebody who is actively involved in their community and making the world a better place. And that has made it even more special.
Yeah. Thank you. And it, was absolutely an honor to create in this way. And I'm so fucking excited about continuing to wear this mask and to fucking scream about this mask, and also to vote in this next election. I have Minnesota has another primary coming up August 11th, and I already got my mail-in ballot, and I am, studying more than I've ever studied. I'm putting that on myself. And this mask, when I wear it, is like that accountability. It also says, talk to me about voting because I am educated on what is on my ballot. And so this is also like an extra step in accountability for me because I'm fucking wearing it on my face.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, let's have this conversation.
Mhm.
So One Way I'll Vote is super fucking rad. And we've brushed on this before. Their board of directors is just like
Major.
I'm not just look it up. I want to know who is one person in the world, the one person you want the most to wear this mask. Like, who would you just absolutely shit over if like they popped up in your InStyle and they were like, this mask by Ripley Rader?
Hillary Clinton, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's far off.
I really like Hillary Clinton. I don't know. I respect her, and you know what, I always say, like, there are a lot of people who respect me. I assume they like me. That's less important to me. I really respect women who have, you look at the war room, right? She's the only woman there. All these pictures of her in politics being the only woman and having the courage to really go for this presidency. And I really, I admire anyone, man or woman, who's willing to put themselves out there. But I think it's specifically hard in a boys' club as a woman. I mean, I feel the same way about Elizabeth Warren also. There's a lot of people, but Hillary Clinton, absolutely, 100%. I mean, Lady Gaga too. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I would die if Lady Gaga wore it. But yeah, Hillary Clinton's a little higher up on that scale.
Yeah, I would also just shit, and I would print that shit out like
I know.
fucking 36 by 36. I have this like large-ish painting behind me in my studio that would just be fucking face mask.
I know.
Oh God.
We're working on that. The funny thing is, because of the pandemic, we haven't had any PR, and I haven't done any PR for these masks at all. And I do think to myself sometimes, man, we've had a couple PR teams reach out to us, and I was like, in a different life, we financially, PR is expensive. So you don't, a pandemic life, you don't do it. But I keep thinking, oh my, if we had, but you know what? It's as important. It's more important to me that people in small towns, particularly swing states, are wearing these masks as much as celebs. What we've learned in the fashion world is it's amazing to have Gigi Hadid wear your clothes and it gives you some street cred, but it doesn't sell pants. You know what sells pants? A good pair of pants worn by a woman who tells their best friend to buy it, who then tells her mother to buy it and then passes it on. That's what you make. That's what a successful company is made of.
Damn it. I've had fucking rolling chills for like an hour now. This is amazing. God, I love you so much. I want to know where we can buy the masks.
Okay.
Boat, sequin, chamois, and also for how long?
Forever. We can buy them forever, but they're on our website. So I like when people buy from our website because that part of the, all of the donations come from our website purchases. So it's ripleyrader.com, RipleyRader.com. And it's called the Look Good, Do Good Mask Campaign.
I love you so much.
I love
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my gosh,
I'm just
it's my honor.
Already a favorite episode. My cheeks hurt from beaming. I learned so much. I feel so good. I hope that, that's translating out.
I hope so too.
You.
I mean, Molly, to be in the company of you is a gift. The imprint you're leaving on the world is pretty epic. And so to be in the wake of you foraging is I've always wanted to be there, so it's nice. It's nice to be there, Molly.
Well, I love you so much.
I love you. I love you.
Thanks, Travish. Smoochie.
And if you got this far in the pod, I'm impressed as fuck and really grateful to have you listening. If you want to know more information about me or the show, check out the show page on matriarchdm.com, where we host all of the What I Can't Take Off, our progressive Spotify playlist from the songs of the week, and obviously the reminder of who to follow for the week, all in a nice little fucking Matriarch digital media bow. Theme song is Molly May by Ben Karen. Like, I'll never get over saying that. It's so good, right? Thanks for listening. You're so cute.